Hello everybody, my name is Walter, and this is episode 12 of my Redstone Commands Series. In this episode I want to cover two very similar commands, which are the setblock and the fill command. So let's start with what those commands are commonly used for. The setblock command will place a single block into the world, which can for example be a sign with JSON text with an embedded click event. Or you can also remotely control redstone circuitry by activating it by placing a redstone block somewhere, or deactivating it by replacing the redstone block with air or another block. The fill command, on the other hand, will fill a keyboard area with blocks, which can make for a quick platform to work on, or removing a failed contraption from the world by replacing it with air, as an example. Let's start with the syntax for the setblock command. This is pretty simple. You start with the name of the command, then you have to specify where you want to place the block. This is a simple XYZ triplet of coordinates, and this can be absolute coordinates, this can be relative coordinates. I already explained about those in a previous episode. Next, you have to specify the block you want to place, and if applicable, you can optionally add block data and or NBT data to that. And finally, you can specify one of three modes. If you don't specify the mode, it will go to the replace mode as a default. Depending on the mode, the system behaves slightly different. So the replace mode, which is the default mode as I already said, will replace a block if it's not already in position. So here as an example, I'm placing an iron block, 5 blocks in the direction I'm currently looking. And you can see it placed the block there. And if I do the same, you can see now it couldn't place the block because there is already an iron block in this position. So the replace option only works on blocks that are wrong. If you want to force the issue, you will have to use the destroy mode, here with a gold block. And here you see the first difference. The block actually gets destroyed and broken as an item, or dropped as an item, and then the new block gets placed. And the second difference is this works even if there is already the correct block in position. So you can do this over and over, and every time you get a new block placed down. And the final option is the keep mode. This mode works in the opposite direction. Here it will only place a block if there is no other block, or in other words, if there is air in that space. So if I remove this block, it works, but if any other block isn't there, it will not work. And here as an example, I've used a double slab, so this is just a quick example for block data as part of the command. So that's the setblock command. Next, let's talk about the fill command. As you can see, very similar. We start again with the name, and now we have two coordinate triplets, XYZ for the one corner and XYZ for the second opposing corner of the keyboard area. Don't worry about having the lower coordinates here and the higher coordinates there. The game will automatically figure out which coordinate pair is the higher and the lower one. So it will automatically figure out which corners to use. The keyboard area is oriented along the word axis. Again, you can use absolute or relative coordinates as explained in the previous episode. Next, again, you have to specify what blocks to place. Again, optionally, if applicable, with block data and or NBT data. And finally, we have 6 modes you can use. The default mode is replace, and if you don't specify the mode, it will default to that. So replace works like the replace for the setblock command. It will place the specified block in a keyboard area only if the block isn't already there. So you can see the second time I tried it, it replaced no block. If I just remove a few blocks and try it again, it will only replace the blocks that were missing. So this is a way to count negative space if you want. If after the replace you specify another block where you can also add block and NBT data if you want, you can specify what blocks to replace. So in those instances, it will only replace the specified block. So here, in this example, it will place diagonal blocks wherever it finds air. So in this instance, I've used an area that is a 3x3 footprint, 5 blocks high, and you can see the iron blocks in the middle were left unchanged. And again, if I place or use the command a second time, since all of the blocks were already placed, and it's still a replace option, no block is placed beyond that. Destroy again forces the issue. Here with gold blocks, you see all of items flying around, so the blocks get broken into items, and then the new blocks get placed. And again, it works even if the blocks are already there. Then we have keep. This will only replace air blocks in a keyboard area, so you can see the emerald blocks were placed, but only where no other blocks were already in position. So those are the same modes we already had in Setblock, but there are two more that only the fill command has: hollow and outline. The hollow will create a 1 block thick shell that is filled with air, but beyond that it works like the replace command. So let's do this with iron, and you can see I have now a cuboid area with iron all around, but that is hollow. So you can see a 5x5x5 on the outside, but an empty 3x3x3 on the middle. If you want to keep whatever is in there, you would have to use outline. So let me quickly get some gold blocks in there. You can see the center is now filled with gold blocks. And if I go with outline, in this instance, I'm using air as the block to place. So basically, I'm deleting the outline and just leaving over what is on the middle. And you can see now I have just what was in the middle, which is this cube of gold. And with that, we have reached the end of this episode about the set block and the fill command. I hope you enjoyed this little episode, and well, see ya.